Coming up on OC News, a student was left with an unpleasant surprise after they got out of class.
Plus, how one nonprofit is helping women become more comfortable in the home improvement department.
And find out how this celebrity trial is affecting their opportunities in the motion picture industry.
All this and more coming up on OC News.
This just now in tech news, the first responder on the police.
There's been a lot of collaborative efforts.
I feel blessed to be here in Fullerton.
Brought to you by the broadcast journalism students
at Cal State Fullerton. OC News starts right now.
Hello, thank you for joining us at OC News. I'm Brian Ponce.
And I'm Nadine Alfaro. OC News is brought to you by the broadcast journalism students at Cal State Fullerton. A student was left shocked after finding their car gone from the campus parking lot. I got the chance to talk to a few students on campus about the incident. Cal State Fullerton's The Daily Titan published that a student's car was stolen from the campus parking structure on March 22nd. Around noon that day, the student reported the car missing, making it very concerning for other students who have their personal belongings on campus.
I wasn't aware at all, so I think that's a major issue that a lot of people didn't even know that someone's car was stolen.
With situations like these, we really don't know how often these incidents occur and what we as students can do to keep ourselves safe as well as our own property safe.
It's honestly pretty scary just thinking like how easy it is to, go into a person's car, as well as if it's like an older one, which I feel like a lot of people here have older cars because we're all college students, you know what I mean? So just like easy access like that makes me wary, kind of freaks me out a little bit.
Cameras were able to capture a man entering the vehicle and taking off from the campus. According to Captain Scott Wiley of Campus PD, there aren't as many security on campus trolling the campus as there were in the past.
For it to happen at school kind of ruins school because you would think that we're paying so much just to get stuff stolen.
Where does that leave us as faculty and students when it comes to leaving our stuff on campus? I'm Nadine Alfaro reporting for OC News.
The end of the semester is almost here, Titans. Are you feeling a little bit burnt out? Well, you're not alone. Our reporter Travis Jepaway talked to a few students about their semester fatigue.
With the end of the semester less than a month away, some students are experiencing the ever-dreadful end-of-semester burnout. End-of-semester burnout, also known as academic fatigue, is a condition that is known by the negative physical, mental, and emotional response to prolonged academia. It is something that happens after months of studying the same materials and causes a variety of symptoms. Some of these symptoms include feeling exhausted no matter how much you sleep, lacking motivation to go to class or do any classwork, lacking motivation to start any assignments, increased irritability and frustration, as well as an assortment of other symptoms. It can even start to cause physical pains such as body aches, headaches, anxiety, and depression. I spoke with a couple CSUF students to find out if they were experiencing end-of-semester burnout. Here's what they had to say.
Yes, I am. I'm actually close to graduating, so I've been kind of lacking. I feel like senioritis has been hitting a little bit. I'm taking my classes a little easier, but I'm happy to get ready to graduate soon.
I mean, yeah, a little bit. Like getting towards the end, just with I don't know. I think school in itself is like a certain thing, but added on with getting here with gas and kind of trying to figure that out with other stuff going on in life. It's tough for sure, but we're almost there. We're getting it done.
In an effort to handle the burnout a little bit better, here is what they both had to recommend.
I'm just trying to focus on passing all of my finals now. I'm locking in to study, and I'm ready to start my job, honestly, after I graduate.
No, not too much. Just kind of keeping healthy, going to the gym, eating healthy. Taking my days to rest, right? Kind of do the things like recover and have fun, go to the beach, whatever it is, but kind of that kind of stuff.
So students, while it's important to work hard until the very end of the semester and it's all done, don't forget to take a little bit of time to yourself to make sure that you're mentally able
to take on the work ahead of you. For OC News, I'm Travis Jepaway.
Inflation is something affecting all of us. A trip to the grocery store can now cost a few $100s. Cal State Fullerton is looking to help students in need with a food pantry. Reporter Mariana Tournay has the details.
At an all-time high, inflation is putting a huge strain on local food banks. When the federal child tax credit checks stop coming, those in need turn to food banks to put food on the table.
Food insecurity happens here at Cal State Fullerton. Students are able to go to the food pantry located at the TSU Center.
There are no requirements or qualifications for students to use this service.
In the beginning of the pandemic, I believe it was ASI had put on certain like food pantry options that is similar to like other food banks that are done off campus. That was something that I had taken a part of, so it was super helpful for me. Even though I could afford it, it was nice to have a little bit of cushion so that I would be able to use it on other things that I would be spending on groceries. So that was like a huge boon in the beginning of the pandemic.
Josh Dundor shares the importance of bringing awareness to this matter.
You know, things in the past few years have been pretty rough, and you know, people need like all the support that they can get. And so, you know, basic amenities like food are just so important so that, you know, people can focus on like their job and their career and things and not have to worry about, you know, what's on the table at the end of the day. So
as a recent, the California Association of Food Banks is calling for nearly twice as much money from the state than Governor Gavin Newsom proposed. Students are able to donate fresh produce based off the wish list located in the CSUF website. This is Mariana Turner reporting for the OC News.
In case you haven't already seen the posters on campus, Com Week just started today with a ton of events to attend. Travis is here with more on the details.
Hey students, in case nobody's communicated with you this week is Com Week. Now, while the past 2 years, conferences had to be held virtually, this year it is finally back live in person. Com Week is an annual communications conference that is held by the College of Communications at CSUF. It will be going on from Monday, April 25th through Friday, April 29th, with events being held in the TSU.
It's a huge event. It's a legacy event for CSUF. This is the 44th anniversary of Com Week, actually. We usually invite speakers in the professional world to share their experience and their insights to give the students an insights about the whole world, career world, which concentration they want to be in.
Com Week also provides important information and connections for students to enter into the workforce, with some even getting job interviews at Com Week.
I'm looking for more information to divulge because what I see Com Week is an opportunity to understand and learn about the field of communications. And I personally see that as a benefit. You get to learn so many new methods, ideas, and theories that are being passed around that could help benefit the communication field going further.
With OC News, I'm Travis Jepaway.
The richest man in the world just bought one of the biggest platforms on the planet. Hannah Gutierrez has more on the insane purchase.
On last week's show, we talked about how Elon Musk may be buying Twitter. Now that he has, we wanted to interview some students and gather their thoughts on the new purchase.
Honestly, I'm not for it, but since he is the richest man in the world, the moment he turns into Tony Stark or Iron Man, that's when I'll support it. Other than that, right now I ain't supporting it because he can be using that money to make an iron suit and be using other stuff rather than buying Twitter for free speech. So that's all I have to say about it.
I heard that he did it for he was mad at, well, it was actually a kid, something about the kid was controlling, knowing where, I don't know if it was lanes or something. He knew something about Tesla, and the reason he wanted to buy Twitter was to kick him out. I think that's what I would do if I was a millionaire or a billionaire too. That's my opinion.
I think he bought it off just to make it different now. Isn't there a lot of explicit content on Twitter? So I think he's probably gonna change that up and make it better or safer to use. Maybe actually use it for good type of thing.
Elon Musk, Tesla inventor, bought Twitter today for around $44 billion. Musk is focused on restoring Twitter to make it great again, as he himself has fallen victim to Twitter's fake news policy. The SpaceX owner calls himself a free speech absolutist and blames public corporations that use Twitter as an advertising platform. A user-friendly edit button may be added to the platform, hopefully eliminating bots that send overwhelming amounts of spam tweets. Twitter is now considered a privately held company, as Musk has bought all of the company's previous shared stocks.
We're excited to see what Elon Musk will bring to one of the biggest social media platforms in the world. I'm Hannah Gutierrez reporting for OC News.
Well, after years of a proposed wildlife crossing bridge over one of Los Angeles' busiest freeways, construction is finally on its way. On Earth Day, a ceremony to celebrate the start of construction of what will soon be the Wallace-Annenberg Wildlife Crossing Bridge over the 101 freeway was held. The bridge will span 210 feet over 10 lanes of highway and costing roughly $85 million. The bridge will mountain lions, deers, lizards, snakes, and other creatures a safe route to access the Santa Monica Mountains. This will be the first of its kind ever near a major city and the largest in the world. The bridge is set to be completed by early 2025.
That's great. I mean, got to preserve the wildlife. We've already kind of ruined the planet enough, I think, but hey,
yeah.
What do I know? Well, when we come back, incredible footage of a baby rescued by a Florida deputy.
It has been a warm and sunny day today. Elena Malik will show what the rest of the week holds for us.
Tusk's Up, Gabe Larson is here to give us a recap on yesterday's baseball game against Cal State Northridge. All this and more coming right up after these commercial breaks.
Welcome back to OC News. We move on to dramatic body cam footage that caught an Oak Ridge, Florida sheriff deputy rescuing a baby from an apartment fire early Saturday morning. The action was caught on camera by the deputy's body cam. The infant was in a third-floor apartment that caught fire. There was no ladder truck on site, and the deputy had to scale the outside of the apartment building to retrieve the baby later. The ladder truck arrived and the baby's mother and grandmother were brought down to safety. There were no injuries to the residents or the first responders from the blaze.
Habitat for Humanity is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to offer affordable housing to individuals. And volunteers can help out in many ways. I got a chance to see them in action and how the Women's Build volunteers do their part. Habitat for Humanity Orange County's Women's Build team prepared all the items needed this past weekend for this Friday's Building Tomorrow Playhouse contest. The Women's Build recruits women of all ages and walks of life and empowers women by teaching them skills in a supportive environment. Or, as Women Build co-chair Anya Bem likes to put it,
we are a set of volunteers that focus primarily on supporting Habitat for Humanity of Orange County through fundraising and through actually getting our hands dirty. And Habitat for Humanity's mission is to offer affordable housing for individuals.
and for many students, becoming a handyman or doing anything handyman related is seen as quite a daunting task. And one volunteer is trying to encourage younger people to come out.
I
I think it's something so important, especially getting younger high school students to get them to volunteer, get some girls to be part of the Women Build. It's just empowering to see women work together and do things that are normally targeted toward men doing the jobs. So it's like the saying goes, women want to build it, not clean it.
All preparation work was done at the Santa Ana location, and volunteers carefully followed the Playhouse preparation kit to make sure everything was up to par. And if you're looking to join the OC Women's Build team, meetings are held on the second Thursday of every month and can be contacted through email. The Building Tomorrow Playhouse event is this Friday, April 29th from 9 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. and will be at 2200 East Catella Avenue in Anaheim. Teams of 10 participants will design, build, paint, and decorate their playhouse while competing for the coveted trophy. You can reach the Women Build team through their email, womenbuild@habitatoc.org. As many of our students work on top of going to class, a lot of them have been overworked and stressed. Katie Doan has an exclusive look on how everyone has been quitting their jobs.
Work has changed substantially in the past few years. The pandemic has exacerbated issues that have been present for decades, leading to many leaving their jobs for better ones. Chris Torres, a former employee at a supply store, was one of them.
It got to a point where literally almost all of my coworkers quit, and it was literally just the supervisor and me. The work just kept on piling up and piling up. And then I started realizing, like, no, the compensation is just not good. Like, it's not worth all of this stress, for what the customers put me through, for what the company puts me through. No, it's just not worth it.
Frontline workers, food service, and retail employees became overworked during the pandemic from labor shortages with no increase in their paychecks.
I did not sleep that night because I just knew it just had to happen. Otherwise, my mental health was just not going to be able to take this, because they were just going to keep adding more and more work to my plate. And I always thought that loyalty was going to be repaid. Like, be loyal to the company that feeds you, the company that pays your bills. And, you will reap the benefits one day. And that they just never came for me.
People have really started to think about those things. How a few months ago they could have been celebrated and acknowledged with pay for their hard work, and then all of a sudden that's gone, and they're back to normal, quote unquote. And I think that people really think that they and do deserve the things that they were getting.
The culture of workers being loyal to the company was no longer, as many took to the streets to organize. Starbucks and Amazon faced a push of unions, a conversation that hasn't happened in decades.
At some point, people will use these types of moments, like the pandemic, to really educate themselves, like I've been saying, and really push back. And I think that there's lots of examples throughout history where people have been pushed into a corner, and then the only thing that they have is to fight back. And I think that we're going to get to a point soon of that in labor standards.
We hope that in the future, people will continue to put themselves first, even in a work setting. For now, this has been Katie Doan for OC News.
It's 90 degrees today, and it sure feels like it. Our reporter Elena Malik has the weather for the remainder of the week. Elena?
Thanks, Nadine. What's up, Titans? Thanks for tuning in. Let's go ahead and take a look at our 5-day forecast. If you've been out and about on campus today, you've probably already noticed that temperatures are hot. It is sunny out with a high of 90 degrees, and as we head into the evening, things will begin to cool down with a low of around 59 degrees. And tomorrow, the warm weather trend will continue with a high of 81 degrees and a low of 55. And on Wednesday, there will be a little bit of fog in the morning, but no need to worry. That should burn off by around 11 a.m. And after that, it'll be mostly sunny with a high of 74 and a low of 53. And on Thursday, it's going to be a little more gloomy. We're expecting it to be mostly cloudy out, making it the coolest day of the week with a high of 70 degrees. And on Friday, warm weather will be returning with a high of 74 degrees. That's it for my 5-day forecast. Back to you, Brian and Nadine.
Thank you, Elena. For a while, mask mandates had been lifted all over Southern California. However, LA County just announced the reinforcement of masks on all public transportation. Hannah Gutierrez has more on the story.
Public transportation is a huge aid to many who don't own their own vehicles or want to save money on gas. What else is public transportation a huge aid in? Spreading the COVID-19 virus among strangers, which is why LA County has reinforced the mask mandate on all public transportation despite lifting it just days earlier.
With gas prices on the rise, public transportation hasn't seemed like a bad idea for most people. But with the mask mandate flip-flopping back and forth, allowing people to take their mask off, then forcing them to put their mask on, a lot of people have become frustrated. I had the opportunity to talk to a few people and gather their thoughts on the mask mandate on public transportation.
I take public transportation, and we were told that we no longer need to wear a mask. Now, a week later, they tell us that we do need to wear a mask. And I know the virus is still active and people are still catching it. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to continue to wear a mask.
I take public transportation, and I've talked to several people on the bus, and it's really 50% of the people want to wear their mask, the other 50% don't want to wear it. But as far as I'm concerned, I'll do me and you do you, and I feel safer wearing my mask.
Metros and community buses have begun displaying signs that make sure riders understand they are required to wear a mask. With COVID cases slowly rising again, the CDC hopes the mandate will protect immune-compromised people who utilize these services. Next time you get on board a bus or plane, make sure you have your mask handy. I'm Hannah Gutierrez reporting for OC News.
Baseball head coach Jason Dietrich is currently in his first race for first place in the Big West Conference. Gabe Larson will let us know exactly how our Titans are doing in this playoff race.
Well, Brian, it looks like our Titans' playoff hopes are dwindling. Yesterday afternoon at Goodwin Field, our Titans dropped Game 3 of their conference matchup against the visiting Cal State Northridge Matadors. The Titans had a strong start in the final game against the Matadors as Carter White led off the first inning with a single up the middle, giving Jackson Lyon a perfect opportunity with no outs.
And singles right through the middle. Jackson Lyon gets on the first one and he drives to right field. It's over Soika's head. He's looking up and it's into the signage netting. A two-run homer for Jackson Lyon and the Titans lead in the first inning.
That two-run shot by Lyon provided the only Titans runs for the game, as the Matadors effectively stifled Fullerton's offense in just the right moments. After scoring once in the top of the second, the Matadors tied the game up in the top of the fourth.
What does he get here on the first pitch? A fastball that he drills to left center and deep. White and Connor tracking it back, and it's a home run for Gabe Gonzalez, his 10th of the season, and Northridge breaks it open with a 5-2 lead here in the 7th inning, a 3-run shot.
Despite having 10 hits in the game compared to the Matadors' 8, Fullerton couldn't bring home the base runners to take the lead, as CSUN starter Lucas Braun struck out 6 of the Titans' batters in the 6 2/3 innings he pitched. Matadors closer Blake Shriver finished the bottom of the 9th, earning his 6th save of the season and helping Cal State Northridge win their first series over the Titans since 2002. And for you gearheads and Ford fanatics, yesterday was the 36th annual Fabulous Fords Forever car show at the Irwindale Speedway in LA County. This is considered the largest all-Ford car event on the West Coast, and many of racing's historical figures were there to commemorate the accomplishments of one of America's most influential auto manufacturers.
Ted and I and Peter Brock and another gentleman by the name of Peter Bryant, we built the very first GT350 race car ever built, and it's currently known as 002. And that's the one that Ken Miles won the very first race with. That's the one that became known as the Flying Mustang because Ken got all 4 wheels off the ground going down the straight at Green Valley, Texas.
Sure. I said I went to Cal State Fullerton many years ago, and there on Chapman, and that's where I learned to improve my welding. I worked at a trailer hitch shop that milled trailers for new cars, pull Airstream trailers, which was being manufactured, a couple of towns over at the time. So that's where I got some of my welding skills.
For me personally, it was actually quite an honor to sit down with racing legends like Jim Marietta and Ted Sutton, who were part of probably one of the most influential auto racing teams in American history and all history. And men like Ted Sutton, who went to Cal State Fullerton in the early 60s before he went to go work for Carroll Shelby, is probably one of the perfect examples of how Titans have actually contributed to America's greatest moments. And these men and their accomplishments have actually been featured in the 2019 movie Ford vs. Ferrari, starring Matt Damon and Christian Bale. Brian, Nadine, have you guys seen that movie?
I've actually never seen the movie before.
I don't think I have, but anything with Christian Bale, I'm a big fan of. I got to definitely add it to the bucket list. Well,
when we come back, guess what animal is being celebrated today? To give you a hint, they live in the southern hemisphere.
And Johnny Depp arrived in court today as the defamation case against Amber Heard continues.
Don't go anywhere, we will be right back.
How prepared is your family if a wildfire shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or an earthquake? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza. Yes.
Make a plan today.
Freedom. It's at the core of who we are. The freedom to live without fear, to jog where we please, to wear a hoodie. The freedom to breathe. Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
Today is World Penguin Day, an internationally recognized holiday meant to recognize the plight of penguins around the world, many of which are endangered or threatened. Winter is coming in the southern hemisphere, which means it's time for the Antarctic penguins' annual march to the sea. The day is dedicated to the penguins, but specifically the 5 that are endangered, which include the Galapagos, African, and yellow-eyed. This helps spread awareness for those penguins who are currently facing threats to habitat loss, fishing gear, and current rising global temperatures and ocean pollution.
Oh, the little baby penguins are so cute.
I mean, yeah, every time I see them, all I can think of is just smile and wave, boys.
Moving on to the world of entertainment, our reporter Dominique Tonori is here to give us the scoop.
Thank you, Nadine. Yes, I have the latest on the lengthy court battle between Amber Heard and Johnny Depp and so much more. Let's get started. It's been a long 3 days of testimony this past week, painting a disturbing picture for relationships between actors Johnny Depp and ex-wife Amber Heard. Depp has been on the witness stand as part of week 2 of the defamation trial against Heard. The Pirates of the Caribbean star Johnny Depp is suing Heard for $50 million over a 2018 Washington Post opinion piece. In it, Heard wrote about her domestic abuse. Though Depp wasn't named, Depp claims it cost him lots of financial losses. The trial continues today and will set to last for the next 6 weeks. Janelle Monáe comes out as non-binary on the Red Table Talk. Monáe feels as if their gender identity embodies masculine and feminine energy, and that God creates people with identity that extends beyond just he or she. What better way to spend evening Friday at night catching up on a new episode of The Real Housewives of Lagos, airing on Showmax. Lagos reality TV show focuses on the luxurious lives of Nigeria with shopping, money, traveling, and a whole lot of drama between their social circles. That's all the entertainment news I have for today, and now I'm going to go plan a girls' night this Friday to watch The Real Housewives of Lagos. What about you, Brian?
Probably not. I'll probably be watching the Batman movie again. I mean, and that's the only thing, honestly, on my mind. And speaking of the Batman has returned, but it's not Robert Pattinson this time in Gotham City. It's a spider monkey in the Florida Zoo. The Brevard Zoo in Melbourne, Florida announced the birth of a baby spider monkey this past weekend. But it's not just any spider monkey. The newborn has a Batman logo on its nose. The bat signal, which was used throughout the DC comics, appears to go across the baby's nose. The zoo went to Twitter to announce the birth and said the mother and the newborn are in perfect health. The Brevard Zoo was happy to welcome the baby and says every zoo birth helps save these endangered species. Cute little guy, don't you think? Got a little Batman logo.
It's so cute.
Definitely gonna pull all the ladies with that, honestly.
Right?
Well, that's all the time we have. Make sure to tune in next week for our newscast on Wednesday at 5 p.m.
To keep up with all things OC News, make sure to follow us on Instagram at OC News CSUF and make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Titan TV CSUF. I'm Nadine Alfaro.
And I'm Brian Ponce. From all of us here at OC News, have a great night.